Hi and welcome once again. If you remember, I had discussed with you the four LSRW skills of communication, where if you remember, I had also mentioned that communication skills is incomplete without either of the four skills, that is either listening, speaking, reading or writing. Today, I am going to take up the most commonly used and the most important skill of communication, that is the speaking skill. You may be wondering what is so great about speaking. We all know how to speak well. Well, yes, we all know how to speak, but well is a question. Whether we know how to speak correct English or not, that is a question mark. Who defines correct English? For a European, the way he speaks is the best English. For an American English is the best standardized form of English. For an Indian, the Indians believe that they know very good English, and for them that is the best form of speaking English. But when we talk of English as a language, we must understand that there are some rules, some regulations and some forms that are generally followed and that constitute the standardized speaking English. Now, if you go back to the linguistics part of this language, linguistics is the science of studying a particular language. Now, if you talk about the linguistics part of this language, English, we can go back to Ferdinand Saussure. He was a very famous linguist who gave a lot of basics to this language. He defined what was a sign. He defined what was the concept of a signifier. The signifier being the thing, signified the meaning that it conveys. So the concept between the signifier and the signified, and therefore eventually he also gave a lot of pronunciation, and there were a lot of other linguists also who contributed towards the evolution of this language. English is the international language. There is no escape from this language. We have to understand and we have to know it well. I would like to discuss a few tips and a few points through which, with the help of which, you may be able to develop your spoken English better. The first and foremost thing, you must remember that English, if it is not your mother tongue, you will never be able to speak accent-free English. Now, when I use the word accent, what I mean is, accent is the influence of a mother tongue on a particular person's language. For example, if I am a French person by birth, my mother tongue is French. And if I speak English, I will speak English in a different manner, where I will also have the influence of my mother tongue, French, when I speak another language, English. That is accent. Now, accent is something that defines the way you speak a particular language. An accent changes after every few kilometers. The localized accent within a particular place is called a dialect. Accent can vary. Even people who have French as their mother tongue, they have various accents. There is a difference in between their accents as well. For example, you take the Great Britain, many people speak English, but even in that area, we have various countries. We have the Polish people, the Finnish people, we have the French-speaking people. All of them speak English differently, and therefore there are so many accents that are found in that particular place. So, which English is the best form of speaking English? Well, if you go about asking this question, you will never be able to get a perfect answer, because there is nothing called right English or wrong English. Either it is correct or it is incorrect, because this is a very relative term. For a person who has his mother tongue is English, may be speaking correct English, but a person whose mother tongue is French will speak the same way in a different manner. So that becomes a relative issue and not an absolute issue, and therefore we say that there is no correct or incorrect. There is correct and incorrect pronunciation, but there is no right or there is no wrong pronunciation. So moving on ahead now. Then, if you talk about today's scenario, there is a standardized form of speaking English that is acceptable worldwide, and that is called RP, Received Pronunciation. Received pronunciation is the pronunciation that has been received from the Britishers, and that is also called the Queen's English. The English that is given to us and that we receive in our own particular ways is called a received pronunciation, and that is the most acceptable form of speaking English. Now, there are many people who say today that America is a superpower. America changes rules. America can change pronunciation. America can change the word and the speaking style of that word according to their own convenience, which is very much all right. But when we talk of American English, there is nothing called American English. There was only one form of English, that is the British English. American English can be a particular form that people have adapted, but that doesn't make it a different English from the one that already exists. The British English is the only English that has been there, and various kinds of English can be developed from that English, which may or which may not be acceptable. So when we talk of English, there is only British English, Queen's English, which has later on developed into the most acceptable form called the received pronunciation, and that is something that is accepted worldwide. Now coming to the English language, how do we know whether a word is to be pronounced correct, whether a word that we pronounce is correct word or not? Well, I like to begin by saying that English is a phonetically incorrect language. Now what I mean by that is, you take up other languages apart from English. For example, you take up Hindi, you can take up French, you can take up Spanish. In those languages, if there is a particular letter that has a particular sound, the sound of that letter remains the same throughout. For example, if you take Hindi, we have the letter Now the letter has a sound that will remain come what may in every word that has this letter When we talk of English, in the same way, we have the letter A. Now A does not always remain A. It can be pronounced differently. For example, we have apple, we have the A sound. We have an aeroplane, the A sound. We have awesome, we have the O sound. We have acrobat, that is another A sound. So when we talk of English, the letter does not define the pronunciation of a particular word. For example, again, I can take another example, E. Now, E is a letter in English. It is very convenient for us if E remains E everywhere. But there are places where E becomes A, for example, egg. There are places where E becomes E, or for example, eagle. There are places where E also becomes I, for example, I, E-Y-E-I, and that the sound becomes I sound. So E also does not have, no letter in English has a fixed sound according to the letter or the fixed pronunciation. So what is it that makes a particular pronunciation? In English, we had learned, we have 5 vowels, A, E, I, O, U. Absolutely right. But when we talk of pronunciation, according to linguistics, we do not have 5 vowels. We have 20 vowel sounds. Now 20 vowel sounds is derived from those 5 vowels, those that they form the basics of English language. But for example, we have A. Now A has 3 different sounds. It can be A, it can be A, it can be and these sounds have a particular symbol assigned to them, and therefore they are the vowels. They are the vowel sounds or symbols that define a particular pronunciation in the English language. So we have something like the symbols that you must have seen in the dictionary. When you look up a dictionary, we have the word, we have the meaning, we have the root, and there's something written between 2 brackets, and that is the pronunciation symbol of a particular word. So that symbol, that pronunciation symbol defines whether a word would be called either or, for example, either. Now whatever the symbol is, the pronunciation of the word depends on that particular symbol, and that is not based on the spelling at all. So in English language, vowels are 20 and consonants are 24 in number. Now 24 consonants and vowels, how do we differentiate between them? Well, when we talk of vowels, in English language, the sound of the vowel goes without the breakage in the flow of air. For example, A, E, I, O, U. Any vowel sound that we take out, we do not break the flow of air when we speak that particular vowel sound. But when we talk of consonants, there is a breakage in the flow of air. Either the tongue touches the upper palate, or we join our lips to take that particular sound out, or there is some kind of obstruction in the flow of air when we speak that particular consonant. So when we say P, B, T, M, N, all these are consonants, and we cannot speak a consonant sound without breaking the flow of air. Therefore, a vowel sound and a consonant sound is differentiated. Even if you don't know whether it's a vowel or consonant, when you pronounce a particular word, you understand through the breakage in the flow of air that this is a vowel and this is a consonant. I'm coming to my second point, that says that English is a stressed language. Now, what do we mean by stress? Stress does not mean that it gives you a lot of stress when you pronounce that particular or when you speak that particular language. Stress here means the focus, the attention, which is more on certain words or certain pronunciations rather than others. So, we have, for example, let's take a word, photo. The word photo, if you talk about it phonetically, we have the vowel and the consonant sounds in that. F is a consonant sound, O is a vowel sound, and again, T is a consonant sound, and O once again is a vowel sound. So we have two vowels in the word photo, two vowel sounds in the word photo. In English, the most prominent sound will be a vowel sound, and that goes for all the words that belong to the English language. If they belong to a foreign language and they pronounced in English, it may be different. But when we talk of words that belong to the English language, the stress is only, or the focus is only on the vowel sounds. Here also you may say fo and to. Now o is the most prominent sound rather than f or rather than t. And that is what I mean when I say English is a stressed language. Now stressed, we can have primary stress, we can have secondary stress. Primary stress would be the more prominent sound of the vowel. Secondary would be the less prominent sound of a vowel. So it could be a photograph. Now pho and o and a. These are the three vowel sounds. So which one is the most prominent is the photograph. The a sound is the most prominent. That becomes the primary stress, and that becomes the primary syllable. We call it a syllable. The stress the sound is called a syllable, therefore that becomes a primary syllable, the secondary and the tertiary. So we have syllables that are there, and they are based on the vowel sound and the stress that is given to a particular word or a particular sound in a particular word. Consonants are not that important in English language because when we pronounce something, consonants are not that prominent. When we pronounce something, vowels are more prominent rather than consonants. So, consonants can be left out, but you must have a knowledge of the vowel sounds, the vowel symbols, and also remember that the smallest unit of pronunciation in linguistics is called a phoneme. A phoneme will be a smallest sound. It could be A, it could be B, it could be A sound. All these sounds are called phonemes. Now, in between these vowels also, we have pure sounds and we have mixed sounds. Now, 12 are pure vowels in English language. And what do I mean by pure vowels? It'll be a very clear vowel sound. For example, A, for example, A, for example, E, for example. Now, here again we have the long vowels and the short vowels. The E sound is a longer vowel sound. The E sound is a shorter vowel sound. The A sound is a longer vowel sound. The A sound is a shorter vowel sound. In the same way, we have mixed sounds, and they're called diphthongs. They are 8 in number. We have 8 diphthongs, and diphthongs are two sounds that are mixed together. For example, A. When we say, hey, how are you? So, hey is the A sound. It's a mixture of A and E sound. That's called the A sound. It has a particular symbol that's called a diphthong. Now, diphthongs, again, are mixed sounds, and they are 8 in number, but they come under the category of vowels. Now, once we have a fair knowledge of what a vowel is, what a consonant is, what is the difference between a vowel and a consonant sound, what comes next is how do we pronounce those particular, what are the other things that affect a particular pronunciation? Is it only the way we pronounce a particular word, or has it got something to do with the tone? Has it got something to do with the stress, or has it got something to do with the way, the pitch of a person? Now all these things are very relevant to speaking. For example, I'll give you an example. A teacher is angry and a teacher says to the class, "Do not talk, else I shall ask you to leave the class." Now, what is the tone of the teacher here? We can make out that the teacher is angry. So the tone of the teacher is an angry tone. The tone defines the mood of a person. A person is happy. It's a wonderful Monday morning, and a person sounds happy. The tone of the person tells you that the person is in a good mood. So mood is defined by the tone of a person, and tone becomes very important when we speak a particular or any language, for example. And in English, yes, tone is very relevant to the linguistic or the speaking part of a particular word or a sentence. So that ways. Then we have another thing. The tone is divided into three types. One is the falling tone, one is the rising tone, and one is the falling rising tone. Now when we say, what is a falling tone? A falling tone would be, "I am happy." It exclaims something. When you give an exclamation, you have the falling tone. When you ask a question from somebody, when you interrogate, you will say, "How are you today?" The tone rises, and that is the rising tone. And then there is the falling rising tone that conveys ambiguity, or that conveys absurdity in a particular sentence or in a particular statement that we say. For example, we mean to say something else and we are saying it in a different manner. For example, we can say that her husband is handsome. Her husband is handsome? Is the husband really handsome? Now, we're not asking a question, we're saying the husband is handsome. It is neither a question nor an exclamation, but there is a confusion. The husband is not really handsome, or is the husband really handsome? That is the ambiguity behind the statement, and therefore when we talk of ambiguity or when there is something unclear about a statement, then we use the falling rising tone. And that is how the tone is divided. The second thing that comes there is the stress. As I've already discussed, English is a stressed language. We pay more stress on the vowel sounds rather than on consonant sounds, and therefore the stress on a particular word, a particular group, becomes more than the consonant sounds, because the vowel sounds are more prominently spoken in the English language. Then is the pitch of a person. Now the pitch can here be defined as the degree of shrillness in a particular person's voice. The pitch of that person is very high. Now it does not mean the loudness. Pitch means the amount of shrillness in a particular voice. Girls generally have a more shriller voice. They are high-pitched. Boys have a less shrill voice. They are low-pitched. So, pitch defines the degree of shrillness in a person's voice. The higher the pitch, the more loud you become automatically. The lower the pitch, you become soft automatically. And then we have something called there is something called intonation that is there. Intonation are the gaps that are there when we speak a particular language. The breaks that we give in between, the exclamation that we give in between, that is called an intonation. So, through the medium of linguistics, the pronunciation practices, by keeping in mind the tone, the pitch, and the stress on a particular word and a language, I think we may be in a position to speak English language in a better manner. Thank you.